Hello everyone, I've got a new leveling build for the rogue in Diablo 4. This build is truly insane, just clearing 2 content. Here you can see the root hold, one of the best ways to get legendaries in the early game. It's amazing. I mean, just clearing everything, even the boss, single target damage, clearing everything, and I'm not even doing everything right. You can see here that I'm not critting, but with this build you can actually gain 100% crit chance. So let's get right into it and see how it's made. Mainly what you're going to use is Dance of Knives. It is a known build, but it is just amazing. I don't even have any aspects on my weapons because I'm swapping those out constantly. I'm level 55 right now and it was very easy getting there. Just hold right click and most of the content will be cleared, especially in the early game. Some of the aspects that are notable though. Juggernaut for defensive. I would say Juggernaut is very nice just to get to that 1000 armor cap for that extra defense. Then the extra Enshrouding is really good for your Dark Shroud to just have that extra damage reduction. And for your pants, I would say the Resistant Assailant. I think that's the Assailant. Yeah, whatever. That would you get your Concealment cooldown back, because your Concealment is actually very important for the build. I'm actually using one of these like runes or glyphs or whatever. And that's with the extra movement speed, but you don't really need that because you'll be swapping out your pants quite a lot. This is just if you want something extra. And then you can just do defensive things on there for tempering. Something like max armor if you don't have any armor, or dodge chance. Both are good. But you're not really going to struggle too much with survivability or whatever, as long as you just have damage. You just clear everything. And you're dodging because you're moving around. For your boots, it is important that you want your movement speed on there, which I don't have. And that's why I tempered it on. And plus the agility skills is quite nice, but it's not a requirement. That's just nice to have on there. And you can also have an aspect that gives you more movement speed. You want to get to a 190% movement speed, ideally, when you start Dance of Knifing. But I'll explain that later, why that's important. Then for your boots, for your bow, doesn't really matter. My bow and 2 swords are just anything with high DPS. You do want to have some kind of good stats on your bow, because I don't think your cutthroat skills actually use your bow as the damage, but I'm not too sure about that. Could be that it does. I don't know. I just always swap them out. Big number, better. But then for your amulet and rings, it does actually matter, because you don't need to switch these out a lot when you're leveling. And you do actually want to have some aspects on there that you will keep for a while. You can also do this on your gloves, by the way. You don't need this unique aspect of a glove. I just have this because it has +2 to cutthroat skills, although it is currently bugged. Because I only have +5 on there, and when I unequip it, I still have +5, even though it's a cutthroat skill. So not sure what's happening over there, but I think this one's bugged anyway. But yeah, for your amulet, I would say getting the clandestine or just any of the other 2 aspects, which I'm gonna note now, just to get that extra buff on there. +5 to your agility skills. It is actually +4.5, but you know, it is +5 to your agility skills, and that's quite nice. You can even get to +8. If you can get a good roll in there. Then for this one, your I think it's the Star Shard aspect. This one is great. It's only droppable, but once you get this, it's amazing, because your AoE damage will just become so much more. Every knife will have a 50% chance to shatter into 6 knives, dealing even more damage. This AoE is insane. You can see it in the gameplay. Everything is just getting hit. This is also why I have the poison imbuement instead of the shadow imbuement, because everything is already hitting each other. So the AoE damage is not really the problem. The single target damage is really the thing that needs a little bit more work. That's why I have the poison imbuement. And then this is just another great aspect, because your Dance of Knives kind of snapshots the energy, the damage you have and the movement speed. This is why you can actually get something like this, where afterwards the first skill you're gonna cast, it's gonna get the 50% extra damage bonus after your subterfuge skill. And you're always going to cast a subterfuge skill before you do the Dance of Knives, if you're doing it properly. So you can get a lot of extra damage, not only crit, but also damage on there with this aspect. That's a great aspect on there. If you want to get into tempering and stuff, movement speed on your amulet and boots, very important. And then maybe something like Shadow Clone cooldown reduction is nice. Your weapons I wouldn't temper, and for your armor, as I said before, armor, life, dodge chance, all is good. Just put it on there so you get more survivability, but most of the time just swapping out new stuff is better. And it's only near the end of like the level 60 that you actually want to keep and temper your gear, which I'm doing right now, and also showcased for the video, did some more of that in there as well. Specialization, I would only do this at like level 30 because the other two don't really matter too much. The combo for your Dance of Knives is not really that useful. You get like extra charges. Yeah, it doesn't really matter too much. As long as you have the movement speed, it doesn't matter how many charges you have because you will just be able to keep them up permanently. So you don't need the combo points. And inner sight is extra crit chance, but once you do the concealment before your Dance of Knives, it doesn't really matter because you will get the extra crit from there anyway. So you want to wait till preparation, and that's for level 30. And then we'll just, once you cast your Shadow Clone, you will just have a cooldown reduction of everything. All skills will be reduced, and also your Dance of Knives will fully be up again, so 6 charges. So if you mess up for any reason, just do your Shadow Clone, and then you can go and spin to win again. So for your skills, at the beginning, you want to do your Blade Shift with a Enhanced Blade Shift. It will just give you a lot more movement speed. So what you want to do at the beginning, because you only have Blade Shift and your Dance of Knives, is you basically want to just auto-attack once, get that Blade Shift, and then get your Dance of Knives out. Dance of Knives is not a core skill, so you just get Sturdy and Severing Strikes until you can get your, what's it called, Agility skills in there. And then you want to just put full points into Dance of Knives. Dance of Knives is really nice because this enhanced Dance of Knives really makes it great. This is what allows you to actually keep it up permanently. You need to have like a speed of, I don't know, 7.5 meters per second, which is roughly around 190% movement speed after buffs, because it keeps your movement speed at the beginning of the channel. That's a snapshot. That's the thing what's called a snapshot. It basically makes a picture of your movement speed at the moment you start channeling, and also of your damage. And it doesn't matter if your movement speed was only a buff that lasted 3 seconds, as long as it was active during the activation of the channel, then it persists the whole time through. So as long as you have 190% movement speed, you will keep having that 190% movement speed as long as you're channeling the skill. And this is great because you will have the Dance of Knives just gaining charges every few times. This is why you need to keep moving. And once you do that, you can just keep spinning and just spin to win everywhere. In the beginning, it might be a little bit difficult to keep this up. Then you might need to jump off again and then, hit a few times and then do it again. But in the beginning, it doesn't really matter because in the beginning, you're probably clicking on stuff, getting used to it, and you're jumping out of your Dance of Knives anyway. So it doesn't really matter too much. And this one is just disciplined for that extra slow, and Pierce is also quite nice. Then we come to the huge one, which I didn't realize until like level 35 or whatever. Yesterday I was streaming and I realized that concealment was in a lot of builds, but I didn't really get it too much. I was like, okay, it's nice. Extra movement speed, great. Oh, great. I can get even more movement speed. That's great, because then I'll have like the 190% and I'll be spinning to winning the whole time. Then I realized then you can actually get the subverting, which means that the skill that breaks your concealment will full critical strike and make enemies vulnerable, which is crazy. Not only 6 seconds is way too much, but it's permanently up. So this one, because it is a channeling skill, even 10 seconds after you've clicked the actual button and you're still holding it down, it's still the same cast. So it's still 100% crit chance and vulnerable applying. So this is great. This is why you'll get your vulnerable from, and this is why you don't really need crit chance on your gear, because if you do it right, this is just the way to go. And this is just how you start it, and then yeah, this is just it's just 100% crit chance right there. It's crazy. I was quite stunned when I first saw it, but it's nice. So further on, we have the Dark Shroud, which is just your damage reduction, your survivability, your tankiness, and you can get even more crit chance. But to be honest, I would say this one is actually better because you don't need crit chance anymore. I did use this before I made that change, but it's always nice going over your stuff, because you get even more movement speed. This is why sometimes you just want to activate it before you do the Dance of Knives. But yeah, this is just great. And you just to get other things for the passive points. Passive points you only do to get to like the next point, and at the end. At the beginning you really want to get your skills first, and then passive points you just pad that later just to get that extra points in. Same with Poison Imbuement. This is nice. You can also take Shadow Imbuement. For the AoE damage, Shadow Imbuement is actually a lot better. But we're already doing a lot of AoE damage, especially now they got with Aspect. I think before the Aspect you can actually get Shadow Imbuement. But to be honest, just the extra damage from Poison Imbuement, especially because you're 100% critting, with the 75% increase to poisoning damage, is just crazy. And you just have that poison on them, so Dealing poison damage also increases your attack speed and lucky hit chance, which is great for the comboing potential. Then afterwards, you will go to your ultimate skill. I have a bit of a cold. Sorry for me holding up my nose the whole time. But anyway, for your other skills, Shadow Clone. Just will create a Shadow Clone which will deal 100% of your damage. And it will just also cast all of your skill. So that's great. Just to get that extra damage in there. And you also level this up so the cooldown gets reduced. If you temper on your rings and your amulets that your cooldown will be reduced even more for Shadow Clone, you can actually get 100% uptime of this. You do want to stop Dance of Knives in every 15 seconds just to cast the clone again, get all of your skills back, and then just start spinning again. This does not interrupt your concealment, by the way. I've tested this, and I thought, oh, this ruins my concealment and stuff. It doesn't. So you can just press Imbuement, Concealment, Shadow Clone, get all of your cooldowns back, and then start spinning. With the Momentum, which is the key passive, you should have the max amount of movement speed, like 190% plus, easily. Because the movement, you get like 30% movement speed from this. If you just spin around for like 10 seconds and then really start your spin, it's gonna be, yeah, you can just keep spinning, it doesn't really matter. This is the Momentum, it's great key passive. I just need to do this for like 10 seconds, and then you get the momentum stack. Yeah, and then you have like this just basically gives everything you want: 30% damage reduction, movement speed, 6% increased damage. Great, it's all great. So that's great. And yeah, then you just want some other passive points in there, and that's I think it for the skills. We do have the Mercenary, but to be honest, I just did Rahir just for the extra resistance. I just now realized that I didn't have a Mercenary, so that's why they're not leveled. I'll do Rahir for the extra resistance. Other than that, or extra armor if I need it. That's just the basic stuff. Subo, he's just there for the vibes. I don't really know, I have Subo. And for the Witchcraft, something I almost forgot. I actually did, this is my current setup with Decay, the Frog, which is really nice. Hex of Flames, Purging Torch, and also Hour of the Lament with the Vengeful Spirit. But I do actually want to get the Pyronado later on. And I'm going to swap out the Frog and I think the Hour of Lament for the Hour of Siphoning with the Hour of Specialization. Once I get both of those, actually way more AoE. So then it's actually a little bit more valid. But the Hour of Siphoning is great for beginning. And once you get this, I think, for level 1. So I would definitely advise putting this one in. It's just great. And the Frog is also great. By the way, the Frog solos, especially in the beginning, really helps. But why I took this one, especially Purging Touch, because if you put it to level 10, it's just basically 30% increased damage. That's great. You can't really argue with 30% increased damage. The Frog is great for extra damage. This one's actually additional damage every time you hit him once they become hexed, and it's also just a way to apply the hex. You have a pretty decent lucky hit chance with your Dance of Knives, so it's actually a pretty decent chance of increasing that Hex of Flame, or like put on that hex. And later on, I think your Pyronado actually triggers when you do a hex and the aura effect, so you do need both of those. But I still need to level up a little bit more for that. So yeah, I think that's it for the whole build. All in all, it's just a great build, and you just spin to win. Basically, that's it, man. It's really not that difficult. Really easy to do, and a lot of fun as well. So I'll leave some gameplay in the background, or won't. Please like and subscribe. I will be streaming, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao, ciao.